Home security footage revealed a mother's terrifying secret: the Florida case that shocked the nation. The voices in the walls. Don't forget to subscribe, because tonight's story isn't fiction, it's footage the world was never meant to see. April 21, 2025, Palm Beach County, Florida. A quiet suburban neighborhood, sunlight fading behind pastel-painted homes. From the outside, everything looked normal. Inside apartment 2B, a mother named Rashan Gatlin, just 27, moved through her kitchen with an unsettling calm, unaware that every step, every word, was being recorded by her own security cameras. She'd had those cameras installed months before, for safety, she told her boyfriend. But lately, Rashan's friends said something about her had changed. Her laughter came less often. She spoke to herself when she thought no one was listening. And sometimes, in the middle of the night, she whispered to someone unseen. That afternoon, the living room camera flickered to life, motion detected. Rashan walked in, her hair disheveled, her eyes fixed on something invisible. She opened a drawer, her hand closing around a butcher knife nearly 8 inches long. The kitchen light flickered. No one else was home except her 3-year-old daughter. "Come to the bathroom," Rashan's voice echoed faintly. At first, it sounded gentle. Then again, sharper, more commanding. "Come to the bathroom." In the grainy footage, her daughter hesitated in the hallway, clutching a stuffed toy. The air felt heavy, like the room itself knew something terrible was coming. Then, both figures disappeared from view as the bathroom door shut. The next 90 seconds are silent on the footage. But the audio, recorded by a motion sensor in the hallway, captured something no one in the world should ever have to hear: a child's scream. Then another. Then silence. When Rashan reappeared on camera, her face was pale, her breathing uneven. The knife was gone. In its place, she held her phone. 911, she whispered. "I stabbed her. I stabbed my daughter." The dispatcher's voice crackled through the line. "Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. Is she still breathing?" "Yes," Rashan replied, her tone eerily calm. "She's bleeding a little bit, in the back." Her voice trembled, but not with fear, with confusion. "I don't know why I did it," she murmured. "The voices told me to." When the first deputies arrived, their body cameras recorded the sound of her sobbing faintly near the living room. "I had to call her dad," Rashan said, rocking back and forth, her daughter's head resting on her lap. "I just had to." Officers rushed inside, one kneeling beside the child, the other disarming Rashan. The girl's small body bore shallow wounds across her back, enough to terrify, not to kill. One officer's voice, still trembling, was caught on the radio transmission. "We've got multiple stab wounds to a 3-7. They're superficial, but she's lucky to be alive." Outside, red and blue lights illuminated the palm trees as paramedics raced the girl to St. Mary's Pediatric Hospital. Neighbors gathered in disbelief. "She was always so polite," one woman said. "I saw her playing with her little girl just yesterday." Meanwhile, deputies placed Rashan in handcuffs. "Ma'am, are you hurt?" one asked. She shook her head slowly. "No. I just want to die." For the next 30 minutes, she sat in the back of a patrol car, eyes fixed on nothing. Then, without warning, she muttered, "They told me to stab him, not her." The voices changed. No one in law enforcement had heard anything quite like it. By nightfall, the footage from Rashan's home, those same cameras she'd installed for protection, would become key evidence in one of Florida's most haunting domestic cases. And what investigators would discover next would reveal a far darker truth than anyone expected: the footage that shouldn't exist. Night falls over Palm Beach County. Police tape flutters under the yellow streetlights as detectives step into the small apartment, its walls still humming with the echoes of chaos. The air is thick with bleach, fear, and something else: silence. Inside, the home cameras are still rolling. Every lens, every angle, has captured fragments of the day's horror. Detective Martin Cardenas adjusts his gloves as he studies the living room monitor. A motion alert flashes: 12:47 p.m., activity detected. He presses play. The screen fills with an image that feels too real to process. Rashan entering the kitchen, head slightly tilted, whispering to no one. Her lips move, but the microphones can't make out the words. Then, a smile. Small. Detached. Like someone hearing a joke in another world. Detective Cardenas looks away. This wasn't random, he mutters. She's responding to something, or someone. The camera cuts to the bathroom hallway. The little girl's voice faintly echoes. Mommy, no. Then the door closes. The next frame, Rashan re-emerging, covered in blood. The knife clatters against the counter. She picks up her phone and dials 911. Her voice is soft, trembling but strangely distant. I grabbed the knife, and I started stabbing her. Back at the station, Sergeant Elaine Roberts listens to the call repeatedly. She sounds disconnected, she says. Not angry. Not panicked. Just, gone. Meanwhile, paramedics at St. Mary's Hospital report that the little girl is stable, miraculously alive despite over a dozen stab wounds. The case should have been over, but what Rashan says next in custody changes everything. I didn't mean to hurt her, she whispers to detectives. The voices told me to do it. They told me she wasn't real. Her words send a chill down the interrogation room. The lead detective leans forward. What voices? The ones that live in the walls, she says, staring at the ceiling. They come out at night. They tell me things. For a moment, even the veteran officers go silent. Rashan's eyes glaze over as she begins to hum softly, a children's lullaby. Through the glass, her boyfriend Basilio waits in the hallway, shaking. He's just been told that his daughter will survive. Relief mixes with disbelief. When the detectives finally question him, his answers begin to unravel the truth. She's been off for months, Basilio admits. Back in December, she was taken to the hospital. They said it was schizophrenia. They gave her meds, but she hates taking them. The detective scribbles furiously. When's the last time she was seen by a doctor? Last week, he says. She told me she didn't want to be here anymore. Said she was hearing things, that she wasn't safe in her own head. Did she ever say she wanted to hurt the child? Basilio pauses. His eyes well up. She said, she was scared of herself. I thought she was getting better. The officer closes his notebook. Where were you during the incident? I was gone half an hour. I came back, to this. Later, Rashan sits quietly in the back of a cruiser, her wrists bound, whispering into the dark. They told me to stab him. But she was there instead. I did what they said. The dashcam records every word. Back at the crime scene, the detectives piece together the timeline. Blood spatter on the bathroom tile. Knife marks near the sink. A stuffed toy dropped beside the tub, soaked but intact. The home cameras, still blinking red, become both witness and prosecutor. When investigators review the footage again, they notice something new, something no one had seen before. Just before Rashan took her daughter into the bathroom, she looked straight into the lens. Not at it, into it. And she whispered, "Now they'll believe me." Detective Cardenas freezes the frame. Who's they, he mutters. But the question will lead them into a deeper nightmare, one that reveals the dark reason Rashan had installed the cameras in the first place. The truth behind the cameras. The next morning, detectives return to the quiet apartment complex. The Florida sun is bright and cruel, casting long shadows across the yellow police tape. Inside, the smell of dried disinfectant clings to every surface. But today's visit isn't about collecting more evidence, it's about finding answers. Rashan Gatlin sits alone in a white interrogation room. Her wrists are cuffed to the table. She hasn't asked for food, water, or a lawyer. She only hums, the same off-key lullaby she sang to her daughter hours before the stabbing. Detective Cardenas presses the record button. Rashan, he says softly, you told us the voices told you to do it. Are you hearing them now? She stares at the wall. No. They're quiet today. He slides a folder across the table, photos of the home security cameras. You bought these yourself. Why? Rashan looks down at the pictures, her face unreadable. To catch him, she says. Catch who? My boyfriend. I thought he was hurting the kids when I wasn't home. The detective exchanges a glance with his partner. So you installed them to protect your children? Rashan nods. Yes. But the cameras started catching something else. Her tone shifts, cold, distant. Sometimes, at night, I'd see things in the footage that weren't there in real life. Shadows moving. Faces behind me. Voices whispering from the speakers. The room falls silent. Detective Cardenas leans forward. Rashan, are you saying you saw people in the video who weren't real? She looks up, eyes wet. They were real. They told me my daughter wasn't my daughter. They told me she was replaced. The air in the room grows heavy. What do you mean, replaced? She looked the same, but the voice wasn't hers anymore, Rashan whispers. They said the real one was gone. For a moment, no one speaks. It's clear now, this wasn't a crime born from anger. It was born from delusion, from untreated mental illness spiraling into tragedy. Outside the interrogation room, Basilio, her boyfriend, speaks with another officer. His eyes are hollow. She wasn't evil, he says quietly. She was sick. She was hearing things for months. I begged her to take her medication. I thought she was fine when she came home from the hospital. He pauses, looking toward the two-way mirror. She thought the cameras were protecting her. Instead, they recorded her breaking. Days later, footage from the investigation surfaces in court filings, the same video clips that will later circulate across the internet, turning Rashan's name into a headline. Florida mother charged after home camera captures attempted homicide. But inside the county jail, Rashan barely reacts to the news. Her only question to the guards is she still alive? When they tell her yes, she weeps quietly. Good, she whispers. Maybe they'll leave me alone now. Months later, the little girl recovers slowly at St. Mary's Hospital. When detectives visit, she sits on a hospital bed holding a teddy bear, her back covered with small scars. Who hurt you, sweetheart? One officer asks gently. She tilts her head. Mommy had a kitty face, she says. Mommy had fangs. The officer swallows hard. Fangs? Yes, the girl says, pointing to her cheeks. She had sharp ones. She was not my mommy. Her words mirror the delusions Rashan described, proof that the event left more than just physical wounds. In the final report, prosecutors charge Rashan Gatlin with attempted first-degree murder and aggravated child abuse. Doctors confirm her diagnosis: paranoid schizophrenia, untreated, escalating, and worsened by skipped medication. She pleads not guilty by reason of insanity. The footage remains sealed from public release, but the description alone spreads online, gaining millions of views and sparking endless debates about mental health, motherhood, and the thin line between paranoia and possession. Closing scene, YouTube outro. As the narrator's voice fades, the screen shows the final haunting frame, Rashan looking directly into the home camera, moments before the crime. Her lips move one last time. The audio is faint, almost swallowed by static. But when enhanced by investigators, it reveals 5 words that freeze the room. Now they can finally see. The screen fades to black. A whisper follows. Some footage should never be found.